At long last, we see another movement in South Armagh. If people go back over what we've said in the past, they will see where we talked about a number of illegal laundering plants operating in South Armagh. It's unfortunate that it's taken so long to start to move on them. Now, better late than never. We have to congratulate Customs and the police for actually now starting to move on them. But we have told them about these places over this last number of years, and especially the whole idea of the vodka. You know, they're actually now running a bottling plant, and they go around collecting bottles from the bottle banks. You know, unbelievable. Don't break your vodka bottles or your whiskey bottles, because the Republicans need them to fill them up again. But the only thing that would worry me is that we've been shouting for years about these, and we've been pushing for to get movement on them, and we welcome that. But we hope this is not an excuse to turn around and say, well, look how well we're doing now on terrorism and smuggling, that we've made inroads and the people in these communities are helping, so that this will help the whole move towards policing and justice. This is the sort of policing we need in the first place. This is what should be going on without anybody being blackmailed into handing over policing and justice. Policing and justice can only be handed over to Northern Ireland Assembly whenever we have full and proper policing within our communities that's not driven by politics. And Sinn Féin and them, in one hand, are threatening to walk away from the Assembly. I thought they were politicians. They weren't children who throw their rattleys out of the pram whenever they don't get their way. And I am worried, and a lot of other people are worried, that this good work that should have happened years ago and now is starting to happen is only being used as a propaganda tool to say how we have taken on the Republicans in South Armagh and other places. Look at what we're doing to them. That this is going to be used to justify the handing over of police and justice, because it won't work. It won't be acceptable. All that's going on at the minute is we are now starting to see people being held to account. And at long last, in the last interview we mentioned why they never arrest anybody, and lo and behold, this time they've arrested 3. So perhaps they're learning from us, and we welcome that fact, that it is good to arrest people when you do raid these locations and actually catch them. But anybody that's buying this is every bit as bad, because you're putting money into the terrorist machine. Be under no illusion, these simply aren't criminals. These are terrorists who have a cause. And until people realise that, and the people who buy them stop it, because you may think you're getting a bargain or whatever, but you are actually helping to fuel terrorism. So you should suffer the full rigours of the law as well. And I know if we find out of anywhere that's doing it, we will certainly pass on to the police and to the customs, and make no apology for that, because we're not interested in individuals who's out making a few pounds. We're not interested in that. But when it comes to money going into the pockets of terrorists, we are interested. When it comes to people using the law of the land to try and corrupt the whole system, to get people like Jerry Adams and Martin McGuinness and them in charge of policing and justice, you know, how could you have a just system with people like that in charge of it? Nowhere else in the world would you put people in charge of policing and justice who have been the biggest culprits of breaking the law. In other words, like, would you put a rapist in charge of a girls' school? There'd be an outcry, and quite rightly so. Well, these people raped our community for 35 years, so they're no better, and they're certainly they're every bit as bad as what the rapists are, because that's what they did to our community. They raped it through violence. But we say to our politicians, don't think the people are as easy led as what they were 25 years ago. We know exactly what's going on, and we hope and pray that the police and the customs are not allowing themselves to be used as political footballs. I say again, we have said for a number of years about these plants operating in South Armagh. It's not as if they're some wee small things, that you can't see them. We have stated no longer than a fortnight ago that there was other plants very close to the biggest one they say they've ever found. We stated a couple of weeks ago when they found that there was another couple not that far away. They've got one of them, but there's another one. We told them about the vodka going on. We told them that was happening. Now, it took a long time for them to move on it, but they finally moved. But we just hope and pray that they're not moving to try and appease the attitude of the unionist community by saying we're doing great things and we're getting great help from the Republicans, because it's not from the Republicans. Let me make this clear. These things were known about for a number of years. They've been told about them, and it didn't come from the Republicans. So we would ask that the police and the customs are encouraged. We congratulate them for the good work, but we just hope that it's not political football that they're being used in, because if they keep making raids like this and keep succeeding the way they have been over this last number of weeks especially, that will start to win the confidence of our people, but not if it's used as a political pawn to allow the IRA in to govern policing and justice while they still have their Army Council fully intact. And I told you about the Army Council, that John George Hughes and his companions said that they could only get involved, when he said they, he meant Sinn Féin, could only get involved in policing and justice as long as they were answerable back to the Army Council. So in other words, policing and justice would be run by the Army Council. And be under no illusion, Sinn Féin is answerable to the Army Council, and that can never be allowed to happen. But with all that said, we welcome the actions of the customs and the police, and we encourage more of it. We see things starting to pay off now, and we would encourage them to keep the drive on, because a lot of good Catholic people in that area want to see this stop. They want to see these boys read out. So congratulations, well done, but don't try and sell it as a political football, because that will not be acceptable.